this, I suppose, is the first time in history when ordinary lives or working class lives have been documented, and this feels like for that reason, it feels like a real. This will be read in 100, 200 years' time as these are the guys. It does make heroes of these characters who I think would be remembered, but I think also just to delve into them personally. When you look at the rest of history, it's all about kings and politicians, and yet these, as you say, footballers for most people are the people that are the modern day heroes.
And I think and yes, and again, it was important. I felt this was a part of like the working class history of the country that these stories are often easily lost, and and again, talking about the changes in football and so forth, these were players who still lived locally, who were still going to the local cinemas, the dance halls, and so forth, and were still part of the community. And I think it's also the way that Manchester, not just around the ground and the red part of Manchester, but the whole of Manchester. I think there is also I've seen it argued and had a lot of time for it that it was like the end of, it's almost the kind of last stand of a kind of working class community. There were great changes in the whole areas were demolished of terrace housing and so forth, and flats built and so forth, and lots of these communities, this was the last communal act. Really, was the mourning of the Manchester United team.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Well, coincidentally, I've just been reading quite a few books about the 50s. I was reading the Peep Show about Reg Christie, which obviously shows a very seamy side of the 1950s, and Craig Brown's The Queen, which covers the 50s as well. So it's sort of interesting to go because also it is that our parents' generation do look back at and with rose-tinted glasses at that time. And it is all about, that sort of modern day Britain is about why can't we be back like we were in the 1950s?
In the 1950s,
And there's good and bad things about it. But I think you're right. And it's sort of interesting, isn't it? I think if it had been a different football team, it would have been a tragedy, but I don't think it would have captured the public consciousness in the same way.
I think the fact. I mean, there was already resentment to Manchester United, like in the Lancashire area. I mean, they were, prior to Munich, their nickname was Hollywood United, and so Duncan Edwards should by rights have gone to play for Wolverhampton, who he supported, and where he was from, he was just outside, so he should have gone to Wolves. And then Bobby Charlton, came from a Newcastle footballing family, but still he wanted to play for Manchester United, and so Manchester United had that kind of air about them, and also the fact they were playing in Europe, against the wishes of the FA and the Football League, added that kind of glamour of international travel. But plus, as you say, I think the youth of the side and the fact they'd won the title 2 seasons in a row, they were going for a third title, they were in the European Cup, they were playing the likes of Real Madrid and so forth, and just the sheer youth of the side and the promise that they have. I think it is that kind of James Dean kind of the dying young kind of like the myth is perpetuated by that. I mean, because if you look at like in 1948 the Turin side were wiped out in a plane crash, and again it's not. I mean, they've not really captured again the world imagination like the Busby Babes. It's not. I think as well. A lot of, the great hero, the great hero of the book for me is Jimmy Murphy, the assistant manager who keeps United going. And I think the fact that he was like incredibly able to keep them going and actually take them to the FA Cup final, that again added to this kind of myth of Manchester United and Munich and so forth. And I think that's a big part of how Manchester United kept going.
Yeah.